Hello and welcome from Grudziądz in northern Poland. I'm at a tower which is located to the north of the town. We've got these fantastic views which you can see behind me, and indeed you will be able to see on the film which I publish from here. In this short video I aim to discuss the Poland as a tourist destination for motorhomers and try and give you the pros and the cons. Now in this country there are not many motorhomes comparatively speaking. For example, Czech Republic, which has a population which is something like 4 or 5 times smaller, has more motorhomes than Poland does. Having said that, it is becoming increasingly popular and there are increasing numbers of motorhomes. Now this means that the infrastructure for motorhomes is not particularly large. There aren't a great deal of campsites, and those that there are not up to the standards that exist in Western Europe, but they do charge prices which are comparable. Indeed, in some cases on the coast, they even charge more than you would pay in Western Europe. Now here in Grudziądz is an absolutely fantastic location, in my opinion, at the marina, and the cost here is roughly for 12 euros per night, approximately 50 zloty, 2 people in the van plus connection to electricity. So from that point of view, absolutely cannot complain, but this is a little bit more of an exception. Now coming here, prices are still relatively cheap. You can go eat out in restaurants and things, which I think the quality of food which I think is possibly a little bit better than in many places in Western Europe. Of course, when you're here, you want to try the local dishes. That's at least what I always try to do. And doing that, then, okay, it's going to be even cheaper for you. But, of course, it may not necessarily be to your taste. But I think part of the pleasure of traveling is that we can get out and try local dishes. Next thing is security. I don't think the security is any worse than it is in many places in Western Europe. Despite the fact that last year somebody did try to get into my van in Warsaw and was seen off by a bark appropriately made by the dog. And then first thing I saw was this character running down the street. But I think that in general it's probably there isn't all that much difference. I mean, we all know from other people horror stories coming from Spain and from France and other countries. And next thing is what you're going to do when you're here. Well, there are some very interesting places to see, such as this one here, Grudziądz, which is well and truly off the beaten track. Obviously lots of people go to places such as Gdansk and Kraków. Maybe a fewer go to Warsaw, Wrocław, for example, but there's lots of interesting things. And if you do come off the motorways and you sort of drive through the small towns, something I try to do everywhere. I mean, in Germany it's quite difficult to come off the motorways and travel through with the small towns, but here it's possible. And so you do see more doing that. Now, something about the roads, because Poland had a reputation, the roads here were not very good at all. That's now changed. The motorways are really very good, and many of them are free, some of them are paid. The cost of using them is, well, it's on Western European prices, I think, but let's face it, they have to be paid for, so and they have to be built, so that's what you're paying for there. At least you've got them. I remember what it was like here when it took ages to get from one place to another. Finally, the very last thing that I think is worth mentioning is the situation about the weather. Now, today it's absolutely fantastic, wonderful. Now, I really like I love the Polish coast. It's my favorite destination. That's my favorite place. But if you want to go to the beach and get wonderful days like today in summer, but you can also get rain. So if you want the beach, it's not a bad idea. It's not, it's not bad at all. But you don't have the guaranteed sun as you do on the Mediterranean. Mind you, the very worst sunburn that I had in my entire life was in April, and it was in Sopot, and that was the only time I've had to call a doctor for sunburn. So it does get pretty hot, and today it's going to be around 28 degrees. I'd say now it's about 25, something like that. Okay, so that gives you a rough idea of what I think of Poland as a destination, and so have a final shot round here of this wonderful tower in Grudziądz. And I better tell you about the language, because I speak Polish, so I don't have this problem. But I get the impression that most people do actually speak, or lots of younger people anyway, speak some English. And so I think you can make yourself understood. I don't really think that's a problem, to be quite honest. Anyway, so that's it. Thanks for listening, and hope you find that interesting. And I shall be doing this very same subject on other countries that I go to, but I'll be doing it from those countries.